We're starting. And I will double check if everything is working fine. Just to make sure the quality is good and everything. Okay. This is working. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the voice and the audience good. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It seems there is no lag as well. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, let me sit into my original position here. Let me know, by the way, if you can start. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know if all of you are down to start.
All good.
Nice.
We're all good, I think
Good
so.
to go.
Nice. Okay, let me adjust these cables here. Okay, welcome everyone in my very new episode of my Dev Life show. Today, I'm joined with the team behind the game called The Rabbit Hole. And I would like to say that I'm very thankful and really honored that you joined us for today's episode. And like I'm always saying, let's start with a little bit of introduction. So please, each of you, introduce yourself for us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
So we are Caldera Interactive. We are an indie game studio out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
We are currently producing The Rabbit Hole. And my name is Courtney. I am the community manager for Caldera.
Okay. Let's go in order. So, yeah.
Oh, is that me then?
Yeah, you. Yeah, correct.
My name is Mikhail. Okay. I am the programmer and one of the co-founders at Caldera Interactive.
Okay. Nice to meet you too.
And my name is Isa. I go by Isa. Okay. And I am, I guess I'm the CEO of Caldera Interactive, and I do all the audio as well. Yeah.
I see. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for that. So my very first question would be, again, question goes to all of you. What was your very first contact with video games as a player, if you remember those times of your past?
I think for me, it would have been either NBA Jam or Mortal Kombat on the SNES. Because my brothers got the console, so I got to play Mortal Kombat when I probably shouldn't have been.
I see.
But yeah, probably my oldest memory is that.
I see.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, it would have been, the Super Nintendo. I think it was Mario Brothers 3, I believe. It was the old console at my grandparents' place back then. Yeah, like you couldn't save, so like I remember like we had to restart every time
the hardcore times of games, right?
Yeah, and so I never got very far, but I did play the heck out of that game. So yeah.
I see. What about you?
Yeah, I guess for me, I have a brother who's 8 years older, so similar to Mike, I kind of got access to games like way earlier than probably what would have been planned.
I see.
I think my first encounter with the video games was Hey You Pikachu.
Okay.
Which was a voice-controlled Pokemon game.
Oh, okay. Sounds interesting.
It wasn't good. The voice control was not very good for the game. But
for the time, it was still sick, though.
True. By that time, it was like good. Yeah, probably. Okay. So the other question from this topic: what was the transition time and the tick in your mind when you realized that it's not just me that I love playing video games, but I would also like to work in the video game industry? So what was that period that changed your mind that now you would like to work in the video game industry on games as well? Again, of course, question goes to each one of you.
I know off the top of my head. I don't know if you guys do. So I used to watch E3 like every single year.
I can relate to that. Nice.
And I remember watching an absolutely awful 2011 presentation from Ubisoft. It is lovingly nicknamed Mr. Caffeine.
Oh, I love that.
And I watched him do the conference, and then the year later, Peggle 2 got announced, and I watched the ridiculous announcement that was Peggle 2. And it just made me realize how incredible the idea of getting to present a video game to people was.
I see.
And so that kind of, from that point on, I would have been like 15, 16 at the time, and just decided that I really, really wanted to be that person that got to showcase games from really brilliant people to the masses.
I see.
And have been working towards it since.
I see. Okay. What about you? Or you?
For
I'm not
me,
sure which one would you like to take?
Yeah.
Sorry.
For me, it kind of always made sense because I've played video games obsessively since I was a kid.
I see.
As soon as I learned that it was an actual, there are actual jobs that I could get in that. And they even had that extra mystique because I'm originally from France. So watching these E3 presentations meant I was staying up until like 3 or 4 a.m. finding some garbage stream that was for Spike TV back then, and watching that same presentation, for example. So it always made sense. And then I remember getting a booklet of all the jobs in games industry. I'm really into like solving puzzles. So programming was always kind of like the way for that and to get into video games. So I've always, I don't know, it always kind of made sense. And luckily I found just the right resources to like kind of show me that there's a path to it. So pretty much the whole time, man.
I see. What about you?
Yeah, my story is a bit different. So I've played video games since I was a young kid, but I'd say my first love is music and audio.
I see.
I went to university in music, and so it came out very late for me that working in games was even a possibility.
I see.
Like even though like I lived in Edmonton and like BioWare is here and I played Dragon Age and stuff like that, like I still, for some reason, it didn't seem like it was possible for me for some reason. I don't know. And only through university, going through like a program where we actually like got put in teams where we would build a game over a semester, did I realize, hey, I can make music and sound for games. And I kind of fell in love with the process of doing it. And that's kind of how we met each other, actually, the original founders of Caldera. And and out of that, I kind of grew into a more of a leadership role as well. And so, I guess, very late, but very excited to be working in games.
I see. Thank you for that. So my more personal question would be from this topic ongoing, that do you feel like your family, parents, and close friends were supportive about this decision of yours that you would like to work on video games? How do you feel about that? Again, of course, question goes to each one of you.
I can go right away. My parents are very supportive. I guess my parents have an entrepreneurial background, and so I think they definitely supported the idea of like building a company, and which is I think it would have been like, I think they would have been supportive regardless of the industry I would have gone to. But like I think in my family, everyone has some sort of business somehow, and so I think it just made sense. I think it was harder for me to convince them to go study music and try and make a career out of that. That was a harder sell, but still did it and found some success. But yeah.
I see. Okay. Which
for myself, it's also pretty. It's pretty supported by my family.
Okay.
Like I mentioned, I have a much older brother. He's also in game dev, and he's kind of part of the reason why I was able to get into it.
I see.
So from that perspective, I mean, I've always been incredibly supported by him and the work that he does as a programmer and QA, in understanding what kind of opportunities are out there, introducing me to people, stuff like that. And my mom's one of those people that she just wants to see me and my brother be happy, so she's more than happy to support us in whatever industry we go into.
I see.
And especially being able to like travel the world with my job and interact with so many people, she's more than happy to support it.
Nice. What about you?
I think my parents were always supportive. The reason I'm like not sure is because I remember growing up when games were like, it's just a waste of time. Go outside or do something else. Definitely had that period. But then eventually, when I went to university, I went in for computing science, which is basically a programming degree. And through that, they were very supportive. And when I came out the other end, I was mostly a web developer. So obviously, that was easy to approve of. And when I went into games, it's like, hey, well, why not? There's definitely a trust built up at that point that I know what I'm doing. I might as well go try out things. I'm not going to end up on the streets, so nothing not to like. There was not much friction
That's
there.
That's love from parents, like, right? You have to accept that.
Yeah. It's like, things are good.
I see. Do you think, by the way, that, again, question goes to each one of you. Do you think, like, for you personally, it was important to have this mentally supportive background in your career so far? How do you feel about it? Or you have done it anyway if there wasn't any supportive background?
I think it would have been a lot harder if I didn't have the support. And again, because I had such direct support and like help getting into the industry.
I see.
I think it would have been a lot harder for me personally, at least. I mean, with Isa and Mike, both of them helped found this company, and then brought me in afterwards. So for me, I think it would have been a lot more difficult. I don't think that I would never end up in gaming if they didn't support.
I see.
But I mean, it was my brother that showed me the Peggle 2 announcement. So I mean, it all ties back to him in some way for me.
I see. What about you too?
I think I would have ended up where I am regardless.
I see.
I think I can be a little stubborn, and so when I decided that I wanted to be
that's passion, right? That's passion in you.
Yeah, I knew very early that I wanted to work in something that made me happy.
I see.
I think that's always been the goal, and this is why I've always kind of been following my passion, starting with music and different projects that way that eventually led me to games. But like I wasn't set on this idea. I just kind of followed the opportunities as they came and kind of found a certain passion and love for what I was doing each time I was doing it. And I think that would have happened regardless. But yeah, I still appreciate the support that I got and that I'm still getting.
I see. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar for me as well. Like I probably would have ended up here regardless. I'm the only one in my family that's gone through like the sciences. Everybody else did either like econ or like political type stuff, humanitarian type stuff. So my field was always the one that doesn't make sense. So I've already had to be like, don't worry about it. You don't get it, but it makes sense. And I could have stayed in the web dev, the web development lane, and I would have been fine. And even when I quit that to come into games where it was a lot more uncertain, especially with starting the company and stuff,
I see.
It's like, maybe every parent has a bit of doubt, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm going to do it anyways. So
I see.
The backing is always nice, but would have done it anyways.
I see. What's the story of you three finding each other and forming a team? Could you talk about that as well a bit? Again, of course, question goes to each one of you.
Sure, I can give a bit of a broad overview of how Caldera came to be, but we essentially started a company in 2019, and four of us co-founded the company, and pretty much out of university right away we started a company.
I see.
Working on different prototypes. We all had full-time jobs at the time and was working on our game part-time, like nights and weekends. And we eventually got some funding for a prototype, and that allowed us to go full time. And then at that time, only 3 of us went full time. We have a fourth who's more of a silent partner. And so the 3 of us being myself, Mikhail, and Titus, who's not here right now. He's our art director and designer, and very the probably the best of us three. If I'm being honest, he's just so talented and so creative, and
honesty matters, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. And so now we've been full time since 2022, and we brought Courtney on about a year ago now, actually. So, wow, time goes by. But yeah, that's
true.
A little bit of the overview.
I see. What about you two? What's the story of yours?
Of how we got to Caldera, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so for myself, like Azale was saying, we met like through friends of friends in university, and so we just got together.
I see.
At least the founders. I don't know, Courtney, if you have anything else to add to it.
Yeah, I guess my story is a little unique. So I actually I didn't well, I had been following Caldera for about a year before I got hired on, when they were doing a previous prototype. I had joined on their newsletter. I was super excited about having an indie studio here in Edmonton that wasn't just one of our big ones. And hadn't really thought too much about it. There was another developer I had been chatting with that I met through my brother. And he at the time was like, I don't have money to hire you on as much as I want to. So we had a huge game developer conference happening, and he was like, send me your resume and I'm going to ship you or like promote you to all these different studios. I guess one of the ones that he might have chatted with was Caldera at that event. And about a month or so after that event, Caldera had gotten funding for bringing in a social media manager, community manager. And I guess Isa reached out to that mutual to ask me to apply. I did, and that's kind of how I'm here. I got very lucky that I got the job like the week after I finished university. So while they started the company right out of university, I also got hired right out of university for them.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, so throughout the process of making the game of yours, what was your favorite part of the process of making this game so far? Again, of course, question goes to each one of you. So working on this game in a team, what was your favorite personal part about the process of working in this company on this game? I know it's always easy to ask favorites, right? And I'm the devil right now, but hey, I have to do it.
You go ahead.
It's up to you who picks, so I don't mind.
Mine was easy. It was Gamescom this year.
You stole it.
It was again, like I mentioned, I wanted to present at E3. E3 is no longer an option.
True.
Sadly, so going to Gamescom was the closest thing I think I'm going to get to that, and getting to present our game on an international level to thousands of gamers over a weekend. And we had created a little scavenger hunt, and I had to organize that with studios from across the world. And just like finally like getting to Gamescom and meeting these people and creating content and creating these memories for people. It was unlike anything else. It was one of the most exhausting experiences of my life, being on the show floor for 11 hours a day. But it was, I wouldn't trade it for the world. That was absolutely so far my favorite thing that we've done.
Let's see. Okay. What about you two?
For me, there's a bunch. I mean, there's that. There's the list, ability, right? To yeah. I mean, every time we bring out the build to something like Gamescom, or right now we're running a playtest in our Discord of the latest build. Anytime we get to like hand the build off to people and they get to play with it, and obviously the feedback is not always positive. We're still early, but the feedback where you can really tell that they really loved it, or it impacted them, or either way that they enjoyed it enough to give you like really in-depth feedback. And like recently someone gave us like a lore dump of what they think is going on in the game, and it's just like,
Okay.
How did you get this? And they're finding weird little bugs in the game, and they're like, because of this thing, I think that's what's happening in the story. And I'm like, no, you just. I don't know if I don't want to disappoint.
They're trying to find like hidden doors, like in Souls games, right?
Yeah, and just like, so that's always super gratifying to like. And then one last thing for me is when we go out to these events, meeting other devs. I don't know. I'm just forever in awe of like game developers. So when I meet another one that's like working on whatever it is they're working, I just love just yapping about their process, how they're doing, like what their way to success looks like versus ours. Just yeah, that connection is still what I enjoy the most.
I see.
One very quick thing about meeting developers. When we went to Gamescom, we ended up doing a candy swap with a studio in Australia. And it was so exciting because we gave them little like maple candies and they ended up giving us Tim Tams.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that I like treasure the most, is just this so unique interaction.
True. Very true. Yeah.
I mean, you two bring up things that I would also bring up. You know, Gamescom.
They stole it.
We went twice. They stole them, right? Of course, people playing the game for the first time, even our very, very super early prototype we had at Gamescom in 2023, and getting people to play it and kind of get it, even though it was so bare bones. And maybe I'm going to answer the question a little differently, but one of the things I'm most proud of, I guess, is you mentioned it, Courtney, but our newsletter. We've been consistently sending a newsletter to our fans from the very beginning for about, I think it's 2 years now, and I think we've shared some really good insights on some of our wins, some of our losses as well, some of our less like failures maybe sometimes, and the feeling when I meet someone and they say, "Hey, like I read your newsletter, like it's really cool," or we get people from all over Canada actually reaching out to us asking for advice on the funding program that we're funded by. It's a federal Canadian program, and a lot of people are like reaching out to us, being like, "Hey, like I've read your article about it. Can you like chat with us?" And I think that's always something I've been proud of. And for the last year, Courtney has been handling it really well as well, kind of growing it as well. And so it's been, I don't know, it's one of the things I treasure. And I guess now I'm just getting the cheese out. But of course, the team that we've we're very we work very well together. We trust each other. I think that's one of the best parts for me.
I see. You talked about your favorite part and parts, but what about the hardest parts of the process of working together and making this game so far?
Oh, there's so many. Funding sucks. It's so hard. we squeaked through. We got it, and we're good now until release. But oh man, funding is so hard, especially in these last couple of years. The number of publisher pitches that we've gone through is like it's tough. Eventually, you kind of get thicker skin from like the rejections and whatnot. But yeah, funding is so hard.
I see.
Yeah. I think an extension of that, I think it's the uncertainty. Like we're not only building a game, which is also very hard to do, almost when you think about it, it's almost impossible to do, to get it all together and getting working together. But also building a company and having a startup is very, very challenging. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. It takes a lot of time and effort, and I'm now growing gray hair in my beard. I'm aging quickly
I can relate to
doing
that.
this.
The stress, right?
The stress. It's a very stressful thing to do because you're trying to find money to live. Live off of that to pay yourself a living wage and pay other people a living wage as well. And so that's definitely been the hardest part for me. And I'm very happy that we found funding now to last 2 years. So having runway for 2 years for a startup is a huge success, and the stress is a bit lower now, so it's been good.
I see. What about you?
Yeah, I think for me, the stress is still to come. My position is really unique in the company, in the fact that like I don't deal with the business dev, I don't deal with the funding. My job is solely to sell the game and to sell the company. And there's a lot of stress put on the fact that like we have the funding for the next 2 years, but if our game flops, it's not because it's a bad game, but it's because it didn't reach the audience it needed to.
True.
And so it feels like a lot of the success or failure of this game relies on my position and my ability to get that game out.
I see.
So it makes it really stressful anytime I'm posting a social media post or we're attending an event or I'm looking at our ROI or our numbers and seeing if we're hitting the targets that we've set. For me, that's the hardest part, is it's not just getting to talk to people, it's making sure that I'm constantly growing the amount of people that I'm able to talk to and the amount of people that want to buy the game.
True, very true. And it's understandable because every game nowadays have to compete with a huge variety of a number of games, right? So it's like, even if you don't want to compete as a company, you still have to compete for people's attention. So it's hard, in my opinion. Yeah. I appreciate, by the way, each one of you, that you were so honest, by the way. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I respect that. Thank you. So more personal question again would be from these topics that we just gone through. I believe that all us creators who create our own craft, we always tend to put our inner self into the craft and things we make as a creator, even if it's about experiencing loss in our past or love or anything that we experience throughout our past. Is this statement of mine true for your work in the video game industry when you are working on the game? And also, if yes, if the answer is yes, what examples could you tell us that are close to your heart? Again, of course, question goes to each one of you.
That's a tough one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm trying my best, you know.
As the programmer, it's kind of like there's a bit of a factual, like it's either working or it's not, it's well written or it's not, it's expandable or it's not. So it doesn't have that. I don't feel like it has that feeling component, other than like how good I feel as I'm working and how inspired I am to like, you know, like do things to like, do I have the brain space to think about like what are the future use cases that I should leave open in terms of my code? But that feels like a cop-out answer. I don't know if
no, it doesn't feel like that, because it's your personal work. So I totally appreciate that answer, and I think it matters at the end of the day, because that's your role, right? So I think every role has a personal touch to the whole project, and it adds that, you know, that this beauty to the project, in my opinion, from every person that is working. Yeah. Okay. Any other examples? Oh no, sorry. I thought that.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I think my inspiration for my craft, which would be sound, comes and it's been like that even before, because I worked in film before as well, and it's always been, I see my role as a supportive role.
I see.
And I get inspired by trying to amplify other people's ideas.
I see.
And so it's one of the things I love about games. It's because it is a multidisciplinary art. So there's visuals, there's sound, there's programming. Like all these things need to work together to create a cohesive unit. And I think sound is part of that. And what I'm trying to do is amplify that, make it the best it can be, without trying to steal the show. Like, it's not about the audio, but the audio is a part of it. And I
like
don't know,
Lego pieces put together a house, right?
Absolutely, and that's what inspires me. Like, I don't see myself as the most creative person. Like, I don't come up with the ideas necessarily, but I think I'm really good at taking someone's idea and then building on it and adding my spin to it. I think that's where I get inspired. Now, to whether that comes from something, you know, that happened in my past, I don't know. That's a very good question.
Thank you.
That I don't have an answer to, and I'll have to think about it and
dig deep in the past, right?
and dig deep, and it's probably I'm gonna think about it tonight, probably, and maybe have an answer tomorrow morning or something.
I appreciate
but
it.
I don't have anything else for you. I think that's a yeah.
I see. I appreciate your honesty again. Okay. What about you?
Well, I'm what the kids would call a professional yapper. I have always been someone that doesn't shut up. I love talking. And ever since I was young, I would just love making friends and just talking to people.
Nice.
Like there would be times in my childhood I'd spend like half an hour, 45 minutes like playing with a kid, and I'd go back to my mom and she's like, "Oh, who was that?" And I'd be like, "I don't know." And so I've kept that sense of general awe and curiosity for other people throughout my life.
I respect that, by the way, because in our world it's hard to keep that mentality, in my opinion. Yeah.
It is, but at the same time, in my view, I'm always like, these are such brilliant people that know so many things that I have no idea about. I couldn't, my eyes go cross-eyed the second I look at Mike's code, or the second Isa tries to pull up like audio or video, like audio editing, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're doing. That's so cool that you guys have that knowledge. So I guess that sense of like awe kind of comes through in my work.
I see.
Of like my favorite thing to do is to meet people and hear what they like, and getting to see their genuine reactions to games, and learning what makes people tick and what they're passionate about.
True.
Which does help in a position like mine where it's all about building that community. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the background and like the unique skill set that I have, I guess.
I see. Thank you for your honesty too. Thank you, I appreciate that. So my next question would be, do you believe in perfect synergy between team members working together for so many years? Or is it something that develops out through the process of working together? Again, of course, question goes to each one of you.
I don't think perfection really can exist.
Okay.
But I do think I do believe it grows. I think
I see.
You can build synergy and you can learn to work together.
I see.
I think we've been lucky at Caldera that, you know, we've gotten along, and I think we understand each other very well. And I think where we really we trust each other, and I think that's the most important thing that we have is that trust. And we trust each other if things are, you know, going well, or if things are not going well. We trust that someone will say something, and if I don't agree with something, I might bring it up, and we also trust each other that sometimes, you know, we need to compromise, and so we'll trust that one of us, you know, if we feel really strongly about something, you know, we might, you know, let it go if it's not that important to us. Like there's a certain, and we've never gotten to a point where we can really resolve any kind of issues that we've faced, or that we couldn't bring up something that we wanted to bring up. Anyway, in my opinion, I can't speak for everybody else, but I think and as time goes on, that trust is built and grows, and it just gets easier and faster and more efficient, and yeah.
See. What about you?
What he said was pretty good. Yeah. Every time you kind of grow into understanding each other's processes, and you know, it's a machine that keeps getting better and better. But definitely a lot of mistakes along the way. But we get enough space to talk about those and how to make things better, because we all trust each other that we're here to make the game better. But you know, as long as we trust each other with that, it's not like there's any bad intentions or ego to anything that's happening, and so kind of allows us to just get better.
True. What about you?
I mean, I agree with all the points there. I think one part that I've noticed as someone that came in versus someone that came with the founding of the company, we provide an equal opportunity for everyone to provide opinion.
I see.
Which I think is very, very rare, where everyone is seated at the proverbial table, and there are very few times that I ever feel like, oh, I can't have an opinion here, or I can't kind of have that discussion with people.
I see.
And so I think the company's done a very, very good job at allowing us a safe space to discuss problems with the focus on solutions.
I see.
So again, I don't necessarily think that it's a perfect synergy. But I think that with us being such a small team, there is that trust that everyone is capable of performing their jobs. And if something isn't happening in that person's job that maybe needs to, it's never been a case of like, oh, you're doing something wrong. It's, hey, how can we help to get past this blocker? And when we've had to have those like tough discussions as a team on whatever issue, I feel like everyone gets that opportunity to speak, and we kind of try to figure it out from there.
I see. Okay. Again, going back to the topic that we discussed earlier, that you are listening to the players' feedback. How important for you it is to listen to the people's feedback, and how do you balance your vision and players' feedback?
I think it's one of the most important things we do for our game.
Okay.
We definitely have a vision of the game. And I do think that part of that has been strongly influenced by our community and the feedback we've gotten over the year of playtesting that we've been doing. Like we said, we have one playtester that's even been dropping lore hints that we didn't know existed. And
you can hire him later date as a story writer, right? Or a lore writer.
Oh man.
Yeah. But just that general idea of like we're still early on in our studio career, and we've been working on this game, and we already have these people that are so invested and passionate about the project that we're working on, that they're willing to give their time to help try to make this as good of a game as possible. I don't think that we take that lightly.
I see.
And we try to allow that to help us navigate as best as possible. Like we said, we have a newsletter that we send out every month. We're constantly sending out what we're working on in game, not only our successes, but also our learnings and our failures. And yeah, I'm sure you guys have more to add to that.
I was going to say, as far as balancing the player feedback with our vision, I mean, we're just like we were talking about earlier, we get better at that balancing act. It also depends for us is because we're playtesting the game in a very early state, is it feedback that will get fixed in the next patch because we just didn't have time to implement things? Is the suggestion something that's not going to be needed once this new feature is out? Or is it something that's like, oh, we just hadn't thought about this, or oh, this interaction doesn't feel quite right, and it's like, oh, thank you for taking the time to give us this feedback. Obviously, we have a list of things to do. We rank them and get it implemented. Either way, the feedback that we're getting at this point tells us quite a bit, whether we're hitting the mark with where we want to be at this point, whether people understand what we're going for. So the feedback that we get is definitely precious. And as far as like balancing it, it's,
I see.
Yeah, it depends really.
I see. What about you?
Yeah. No, I think player feedback is at the core of what we do.
I see.
And I do want to make it, we ask people to play our game, and we're always amazed that people do for hours sometimes. Like we right now we're running a playtest on our Discord, and we're seeing screenshots of people playing runs that have lasted like 4 hours, and we're like,
Nice.
That's crazy. Like that's awesome. And we're always I just want to say like we're very grateful that people are doing that and are taking time to provide us with very good feedback and I do want to make sure that people know that we get to it and we read it, but unfortunately we can't always get to it right away. But it we do take everything and we do read everything and we do try to prioritize things that would make the game a better experience for everybody. And I do think it's a give and take, right? Where I do believe that because we are so open about development, we are seeing more traction and seeing some early success. And it's a bit of a, I don't like the word transaction, but it's a bit of a relationship. We're building this community, but also building this. So there is a give and take, and it's leading to amazing things for us for the game also, and also for the company.
Sure.
And we'll keep doing it, and we're gonna try and do it more and more often as well. And it's always a good time when people are hands on in the game, breaking things and having fun. And yeah.
I see. Which came first, by the way, the story, the theme, or the gameplay segments of the game?
Probably gameplay first.
Okay.
Theme/gameplay. I forget which one came first.
Unfortunately, we don't have Titus here to really give us which one came first. But the first thing I saw about this game, because to be transparent, the idea was kind of brought in to us by the fourth from on our team, Titus. He kind of came with a pitch for us because we wanted to kind of pivot on a next project that would be kind of a smaller scope for us. And he came, I remember, with like a presentation as well with a pitch deck, and he had the title already. He had the Rabbit Hall.
Right.
He had concept art for the rabbit, for the raccoons, and he had the gameplay. And so I don't know which came first, but the first I saw of it, it all came together.
I see.
But I do remember early conversations that we loved. We all love tower defense games, and we all love farming games. And I remember I was playing Cult of the Lamb that summer. The art style is a little bit reminiscent of that. I don't know. It's kind of a mishmash. But I don't know which one came first, to be honest.
Yeah. From my knowledge, it started with a drawing.
Okay.
Which was Titus drew a rabbit holding a sword and was like, that's kind of cool, and built out from there.
I see.
That's right. I think at the time he was playing a lot of Stardew Valley and Balloons, which is the tower defense game. So kind of, yeah, that's how it started. That was like almost a year and a half ago now.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So throughout the process of making the game together in a team, as for your personal work in the team, was there anything that you had to cut out from your work throughout the process of making the rabbit hole? And if yes, the answer is yes, then could you like reuse it in a later or at a later date in the process of making the game together? Again, of course, question goes to each one of you.
Yeah, so since the game is still 2 years out, I mean, summer of 2026, there's still plenty more time to build and cut things. From the programming side of things, it happens pretty often, whether it's tooling that I thought would be helpful or a way that I write code that I think is modular for something we will need in the future. It's pretty easy from my end to like just leave it in the place where I build out just enough, cut a little bit, and I'm pretty convinced we'll come back to this. But yeah, in programming, it's pretty easy. It's pretty black and white just to be like, yes, this was here and now it's not, but I'm keeping it in my back pocket because it'll probably come back. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah.
I see. Okay.
I don't think we've had to cut much on this project yet, which I see as a form of success, because I think we've made a lot of our big mistakes on earlier projects that have never been released. And I do believe that we've worked on other prototypes where we had to, we've worked on for weeks and then had to cut complete features because we were learning, and I think we've made those mistakes on other projects, and we pivoted to the rabbit hole. And we were very careful to scope it in a way that we could achieve what we wanted to achieve, and kind of and also scope it for the size of team that we have. We are a very small team. We have only one programmer, one artist. Like we're very the bare bones of a team. I mean, we cover all the disciplines, but we're wearing many hats, and so yeah, I know I forget where I was going with this. I forget the question, so I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So my question was, have you ever happened to cut out something from your personal work when you were working
right.
with the team?
Yeah.
on this
And
game?
so to finish my thought, I guess, so personally, I haven't had to cut anything yet. And from what I know from the rest of the team, I don't, from Titus, especially that's not here, I don't think we've had to cut much.
I see.
Which is nice. There's still time though to make mistakes, and I'm sure we will. But not too much so far.
I see. I see. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, my side is always, again, very different since I'm not on the development side.
Yeah, it's understandable.
So,
Did you
I
have
mean,
to or have you ever happens, or have it ever happens for you to you had to redo something in the marketing part or the promotion part that
all
did not work?
of the time.
Okay.
All of the time. Even when we trends happen so fast on social media that I'll have an idea for a video and then the trend has passed.
I see.
So then it's not really worth making it. Or we've had a couple of social media content series that we've made and then it really wasn't picking up, so we've transitioned to something else. Or even when we were preparing for Gamescom and trying to decide what we wanted to do for events while we were there. That those have changed constantly as to what we're giving out, how we're running our stamp squad, everything like that. So I feel like my job is one of constant change and cutting things and adding things, and just because of the fact that the field and what people are interested in changes all of the time.
I see. I see. Okay. So again, a more personal question from me would be, how have you changed as a person in other territories of your own life from working in this team on this game? So working in the video game industry, what changes made for your life in other territories? If there were, of course, any changes. Again, of course, question goes to each one of you.
I've become way more annoying about the fact that I work in video games. That's my fun fact now, all of the time. Where I'm just like, hi, my name's Courtney. I work in game dev. Nice to meet you. Because people always think that's so cool. I guess
so
it's, yeah,
Wendy's,
that's...
ma'am?
Yeah. Okay, but do you want to know about game dev? The other thing that was kind of surprising to me is that I don't play video games as much anymore.
I see.
Since starting in game dev, my free time I've transitioned to reading.
I see.
Or watching TV shows, which is just forms of media that I have not enjoyed as much in the past 4, 5, 6 years, where gaming took over a lot. But now that I'm working in gaming has kind of fallen to the side as no longer being my primary hobby.
I see. I see. What could cause that, by the way? What do you think could cause that?
I think part of it is just your brain is always kind of on when you're gaming now. So I'm kind of looking at just ooh, I wonder how they did that mechanic, or oh, this art style is so cool. or just like almost like a guilt sometimes for me. I play Valorant a lot, and I'll be like playing Valorant, and I'm like, man, like I could probably be doing some work right now. Like it just reminds me of work to do.
I see.
So yeah, it's just in general, like because my brain is so focused on the gaming industry during the day, there's no longer like a reprieve from my work life by going into video games.
I see. What about you too?
Sorry. I definitely feel like, and now I think it's more on like the entrepreneur side of like making, building a company. I've definitely gotten more confident over the last few years. I think it's become easier to voice my opinions, or to ask questions when I think even if I think they're stupid questions. There's a lot of mistakes I think that could have been avoided in my early career if I had listened to that voice and asked questions when I wanted to ask questions or raise concerns, when I thought they should have been raised. And I think now it's gotten easier for me to do that, and to be able to stand behind those opinions. It might be a factor of just getting older as well, but I think being in a startup, you have to make decisions all the time, and I think you don't need you're also making decisions for other people that affects other people, and so you need to be
responsible, right? So
and so you need to ask the questions that you need to ask, and if you don't understand, you need to be honest, and you just need to go for it, and just go ahead and just keep going, and so definitely a huge difference there for me.
I see. Okay, what about you?
Confidence is a good one. I think because there's so much of it, right? Because we're trying to build out the company, like Gazelle was saying, trying to make decisions, whether it's on the game or biz dev decisions, whether it's to take a contract with this group of people, or starting a playtest, or trying to come up with a plan for like, okay, we're doing this so that later we can do this and then that. And like making the game almost has become this part that's like the easiest part, quote unquote, easiest part of the job, because it's still hard to make a good game. But at least that's within our team and we can discuss it. And it's just like, well, all right, sit down and do it. But when it comes to those other more business type decisions, I'm a big fan of having like 100% of the options understood and laid out, which leads me to kicking the can down. But Azelle helps me keep that in check, which is good. But also that confidence being rewarded when we talk to other fellow developers and we're like, oh, this is what we did for this, that, and that. And they're like, that's crazy. Like, why did you even, or like, it kind of gives us the confidence that like we're out here, we're trying things because we think they're right, and we make a lot of mistakes along the way, but we're also doing a lot of things that other people that well, at least I personally would have put on the pedestal as like, oh, they know and we should just listen to them, that they didn't even think of, and in some ways like surpassing them. So probably, that's the confidence side of it, I'd say.
I see. So at the beginning of our interview, you mentioned that it was a very hard time for the team to find a publisher. What helped you to go through those times and not give up during those times?
Well, I feel like our story is also pretty atypical in that, and this is where like my imposter syndrome will say we were lucky and we were in the right place at the right time. But realistically, because again, now I can look at everybody else, it's like, no, we did the right things to be at those places at the right time. For example, there's like, from our story of where we are now to where we've been and where we started, it's pretty easy to see the through line of like, we we hustled and we were at these networking events. So we met this person, that person put us in touch with that person who gave us the ideas for doing this, and that. And so it kind of all flows from that in a way.
I see.
Sorry, I feel like I just rambled.
No, I appreciate
I
appreciate the honesty of yours, that you're not just saying that it's luck, but you explain it to me and to everyone who is listening and watching. I respect that.
Right, and we're also so we're currently funded through the Canada Media Fund, which is a federal program.
I see.
We were lucky to be in rooms where we could pitch our game to a lot of publishers, but it's tough years, and we're a pretty new team, so it didn't work out for us for 100 different reasons.
I see.
But the thing that made it easy to keep up the hope is that from our previous prototype, where we received some funding to work on the prototype, we managed to flow straight into more funding to work on this one, and then from this prototype into receiving production funding. So we're very lucky in that we managed to just keep the funding going the whole way through. We didn't have to wonder oh, we're out of money, let's keep going on hope until we sign something. So in that way, we were lucky. But I don't know if y'all have anything else to add.
I see.
Yeah, I think the reason why I was keeping it kept going. I think we had some really. I think we understood each other, and we knew our limits.
I see.
And we had some really hard conversations of when, because we're talking about money, we're talking about surviving, paying your rent, all this stuff, right?
The boring stuff, right?
And
not the creative ones.
Yeah, but it's so important. And I think
true.
And those things would change at different times as well. And so we often would have those conversations when we know we're running out of cash.
I see.
And suddenly we're like, okay, well, I remember a point where I'm like, okay, guys, I might be starting to send out resumes just because the overlap might not make sense or whatever. And so I think we had those hard conversations. And again, the trust, I'm bringing it back. I think we trusted each other to stick around if we were going to get the funding. And because it could be easily one of us leaves and suddenly the whole thing kind of falls apart.
True.
And so that made it easier at that point. Also, I think we were learning and we were improving so fast. I think we were making a lot of mistakes quickly and also learning from them and getting better at it. And I really believed in our team, and I really believe in this project. And I don't like to admit this, but I was very confident of our application when we submitted it. I do believe, yes, luck is definitely there, but I do think we had a kick-ass application, and I just really believed in it, and I think that kept me going until we had the response and then we were successful. And so, yeah, that's my answer.
Let's see. What about you?
Well, I don't work as closely on the biz dev or the publishing side. But something that I noticed that I think really helped Mike and Isa, who are particularly focused on biz dev, it seemed like we were never getting no's from publishers. It was just a lot of not yet. And usually that came with pretty good and applicable feedback.
I see.
And so at least from what the knowledge that I had, not only did we work super hard on our application when we submitted for the Canada Media Fund, but we were constantly growing our network of publishers that we had met and we had chatted with, and whether we were or were not their type of game, those networks felt like they were constantly growing. And I do think that kind of helped during that period of uncertainty as well, was that we were still building those networks, even if it wasn't necessarily leading directly into here's $2 million for your game.
I see.
Okay. Yeah. And I just want to add, like, I don't want this to come off as like the CMF was like the plan B because we couldn't get, any more. Like, CMF is probably the best deal we could have gotten, and it was definitely our plan A. So, like, very, very grateful that we got that funding, and it's very hard to get. And you just wanted to add that I don't want this to come off as like,
understandable.
Couldn't get a publisher, so we went with CMF. Darn, like definitely not the case.
I see. So let's talk about the game's future. I'm a big fan of like collector's editions and physical editions. Are you guys planning to have a physical edition for your game, or it's spoiler time and we cannot talk about that?
I would love if we did.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's something that we've actually actively decided upon.
I see.
We haven't discussed, to be honest with you. Like, it's not a yes or a no.
I see.
I do love the idea of having a Switch version of our game, like a physical. There's something about, I don't know, like a Switch box,
or even a plushie, right? So it would make sense.
Oh, the plushie we talked about.
Homework time.
We'll see. We'll see for later.
I can apply for the thinker position here for the team.
Yeah. The plushie is definitely something that
would make sense,
discussed.
right? Because people love cute plushies, so it would make sense.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
A physical game, I think it's like, if it makes financial sense when we get to it, but definitely, personally, a goal of mine, having like a physical version of the game I made would be like, crazy to my 10-year-old self, or
true,
or whoever.
Very true. Yeah, like a dream come true.
Or like going like to buy your game like in a store, like that would be a crazy experience. Like I would record that. I would record myself just walking and picking it up from the shelf and be like, all right, this is awesome. Yeah, we did it.
There's so many companies that do like physical edition options for smaller and bigger companies as well. Like Limited Run Games started it, and since then there are so many like great companies who do that. So yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a matter of like, if I would love for our team at least, and like a couple of people to get like a physical edition.
Let me know if there is a plushie, right?
I
was the idea of
it. I don't know if that would be something that we would explore for commercial release.
I see.
But again, like we haven't really had any sort of discussion on that. So
homework time for all of you.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, a game-oriented question from me would be: are you guys planning to add co-op mode for the game in the future, or is it something that it's a totally no, or again spoiler time?
I'm gonna say no, and then open the door a little bit of like maybe.
Okay.
The reason why I say it this way is because we've tried and have worked on a multiplayer game before, and it's just way over scope for a team our size.
I see.
And so it's definitely not in the plans right now for the current release window of the game. It's not something, you're not the first one to bring it up, and it's definitely something that we know could be a lot of fun to build your garden with other friendly rabbits.
Even if it's couch co-op, right? So it doesn't have to really be like online co-op, but
yeah. And so I'm saying no for now, but it's definitely something that we have on our radar as like, hey, if the game is doing well enough, it might make sense for us to keep working on the game and keep adding stuff once it's released. But it's definitely not coming for the 1.0 of the
I see. So after the full release of your game, are you guys planning to support it like for more years as well? And how many years in the future would you like to support the game, or are you planning to immediately like to work on the next project as well after the 1.0 release? Or you don't know yet?
I think it's a mix of all the above.
Okay.
We've talked about DLCs of different biomes that you might farm around in.
I see.
And obviously providing support to, the standard support window for any games, of course. Beyond that, we're still figuring it out.
I see.
At some point before this game releases, we got to start talking about what's next in terms of projects, right? If we need to spin up a new project that we then need to go pitch and start the whole cycle all over again, or what we have the capacity and
again the
appetite
stress,
for,
right?
really.
Growing gray hair.
yeah, that's the main thing that's changed since going to games. I've gotten older a lot faster.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's not a, I think if we had all the money in the world, we would want to support this game for as long as we can.
I see.
It just needs to make it needs to be that I'm just wearing my boring hat. Like, it just needs to make fiscal sense for us to be able to do it. And so we do want people to have the best experience, and we will support, any kind of bugs for a period of time that makes sense. If the game does really well, and then, of course we would love to keep, doing DLC and kind of extending the life of the game and getting more people to play different modes. And we have ideas for other stuff as well that could be a lot of fun. But it's hard. We can plan and like have ideas for it, but until we get there, we know how much money we're able to, like, are we able to support the studio at this point? That's mostly, it's mostly just guessing game right now.
I see. Speaking of bugs, by the way, what was the longest time for you guys to find a bug or a mistake in the game that had to change or had to be changed?
So, like, the longest... Oh, go ahead.
No. You have the correct answer. I was going to say the shortest time.
Oh, the longest time is a bug that, I don't know, we probably found a couple days ago that was there since the original prototype a year and like 2 months ago. So literally a bug that's been there since the very first time we've had a build is the longest standing bug. And I'm sure I'll keep finding more that go back to the start date. So
the longest for now.
Exactly. Sure. Obviously wasn't a big problem, but it was a bug. So
I see. And what was the shortest, as you mentioned?
Well, again, we're doing our playtest right now. One of our most dedicated playtesters found one within 1 minute of opening up the game. So that, I think, potentially is the fastest, is 1 minute within install and opening game.
Nice. Okay. We talked here about a lot of topics. Is there anything that we missed talking about before we go into some community-oriented questions from my chat and you would like to talk about or mention? Even if it's like your personal work, even if it's about the game itself, the future, or anything else.
Yeah. I mentioned at the very, very beginning that we're making the game The Rabbit Hall. I don't think we actually explained what the game is. We've talked around it a lot. But The Rabbit Hall is a single-player tower defense and farming simulator where you play as a cute little rabbit building up your own farm, adding crops into your food hall to help revitalize your town, and also are growing towers during the day. At night, you're attacked by the Trash Panda Posse, a gang of rabid raccoons who are trying to destroy your crops and steal from your hall. So you are constantly working with your plants to fight them off every night, getting stronger, and learning a little bit about the ecosystem that we all live in.
Okay,
so that is the Rabbit Hall. As well, the studio itself, you can find, this is me putting on the marketing hat. You can find Caldera Interactive on most major social media platforms. We have mentioned a couple times we are doing a playtest live. So we do have a playtest happening in our Discord from right now, well, a couple days ago, started all the way up to December 9th.
Okay.
So if you do join the playtest during that time and mark yourself as interested, you'll be added as a playtester and get a key to try out the game as it is right now.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you.
I guess the only thing I'll add is something that's helped us a lot in our successes is also the communities that we've joined or helped create. Other game developers are so incredibly generous with their knowledge. Obviously, you run into the few once in a while that want to keep things secret because they feel like you might, because you're the competition or whatever. But the number of people that are there to, like, if you ask them a question out of the blue, you don't even need to know them. They're so generous with their time and willing to help out.
True.
And so that's been really good.
I see. What about you?
I think I agree with supportive communities. One thing I guess I'd add, I don't know, it might come out a little random, but something I think that's very important to me, and I'm still struggling with and trying to do better on is just also, we love what we do, but also taking time off and taking care of yourself. Very important.
Balancing free time, yeah.
Burnout is very, it just creeps up, and it's very hard to get rid of, unfortunately. And so just something that I like to talk about, because it's so important, and it's it's something that we love. It's our passion. When it's our work, sometimes it's hard to make the difference. True. I think our health is always priority here. And
you don't want more gray hairs, right?
Yeah, I'll try and grow.
Sorry for that, but it's true,
I grow
right?
more, and hopefully it helps others grow less gray hairs. I'll take the crown of it. Maybe
you contribute to the process of making games for other companies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Are you guys down to go into some questions from my chat as well?
Let's do it.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's early on my end, but if you guys are having some time during your work time, let me know. Let me know if there is any question. Hölgyek, urak, hogyha bármilyen kérdés van, kérdezzetek nyugodtan. Let me know if there is any question. While we are waiting for some questions, by the way, what platforms the Rabbit Hole is going to be released on? Or, again, it's spoiler time and you cannot speak about that.
Go ahead.
It will be announced, or it will be launched on PC and Switch at this time.
Okay. Are you guys planning to add like more console versions, or it's still like in the making, figuring it out, or spoiler time?
No spoilers. I'm putting on the boring hat. If we can, get the money to bring it to all the consoles in the world, well, we'd love to. It's not currently in the current plans.
I see.
But we are still working. We are still meeting people, and there's always opportunities popping up. So who knows? But not in the plans right now.
I see. So a closing question from me would be one of the closing questions. Do you guys feel like you found yourself in life by working in the video game industry, since it was always a dream for you, or you still want to challenge yourself in some way in the video game industry? And do you think or do you feel like you're at the right place at the right time, working in this team together, having trust to each other and working on this game? How do you feel about that? Again, of course, question goes to any of you. Or each of you. I know it's a hard one.
For me, I feel very, very grateful to have joined Caldera straight out of university. Not only is getting a job out of university already such a difficult thing, but to be in my dream field is an absolute joy for me. There's definitely things that I want to do once we launch this game, and areas of game development that I want to explore a little bit more, and kind of also esports as well, which was my previous field prior to game dev.
In Valorant or other games?
Yeah, so I some areas that I wish to explore are kind of like the production side.
I thought
both
from
for
the player
game dev.
side. Okay.
No, I'm not good enough at any video game to do it competitively.
Okay.
I just love them.
You can be, right? It's the future, so don't say that. You cannot.
I'm already past the prime esports age. I don't know if I can.
Already aged out of it.
You don't have gray hair, so it's okay, right?
Kind of. But yeah, no, I wanna explore both the production side of game dev, and one thing I want to challenge myself to in the next year or two is trying out casting.
Okay.
So play-by-play casting for Valorant. That's, I guess, something for the future me to try out. Nice, I really want to explore the different ways that I can interact with the community.
I see. What about you? Or you? I'm not sure which one of you would like to take the question.
Yeah. I mean, I really kind of when you mentioned if we are in the right place at the right time working with this team, absolutely. I feel like I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm very happy to be here. I think I've been constantly challenging myself for the last few, like 3 years, probably. Like it's always been like pushing, and I think it's going to keep going. But I do like the idea of maybe slowing down a little bit, or I don't know. There's part of me that's like I'm sure I'm going to keep growing. I'm getting better at my craft and so on. There's a part of me that's also happy about maybe exploring other stuff that are not work related. I've often have this bad habit of trying to like all my like I can only think of the French word for it, but like my like sideline my hobbies. I'm always trying to get them to almost become a job, and so I'm trying to explore and like just make sure that it's just fun, do something for fun. So
true.
Yeah, kind of the boring cop-out answer to that.
No, it's not boring. I respect
that's
that.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and it's a hard thing to realize that if you have a dream and you like start working in the dream and it will become a job for you, it starts to feel like a job, right? And you're trying to balance that creative process and still like getting money for it, right? So I think that we talked about it in a lot of like Dev Life episodes of mine, that it's like really this society rule thing where you like need to provide for your family, for yourself, pay the bills, get money, and it's really takes away the freedom of being creative, right? Even if you make it in that field that you love, right? So
yeah, and where I struggle too is where my role is split between a lot of the admin stuff and also being creative, and so that's also one challenge that's very difficult to navigate.
True.
And definitely something that I'm getting better at and will hopefully get better at over time as well.
I see. What about you?
For me, I think it's like he was saying, where I feel like it's constantly been challenges for the last like 3 years.
I see.
And it's always a challenge in a new area, which is great because then I'm constantly learning. I love programming and I love solving new problems, which is what game development lets me do. And so, I might have a great way to solve a type of problem, and then these new designs require me to think about it differently and adapt. And so that side of it is always fun. On the like business development / admin side of things, it's the same deal. It's sometimes it gets to be a lot, and I'd rather just go back to just programming. But because I'm just like constantly growing in either side of it, I need to work on my work-life balance. But if it wasn't me doing this with Caldera, I'd probably go right back to the same type of lifestyle. But just got to get a little better with this work-life balance, because we were talking about the gray hairs and burnout. That's always
true.
That's always a tough balance to strike. Yeah. But so no, I'm just happy here, just enjoying. It's never boring, and when it's boring, or the version of boring that I get to experience, is I just get to go program, and that's even fun. So it's like, can't complain. I've worked at other companies where I didn't have to deal with as much, and you clock it at 9, you clock out at 5, and it's fine. But it's so much more boring. And this is way more fun. Probably a bit too much, but
too much fun, right?
Yeah. So
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
If I can add something that I just thought about,
Sure.
That's something that could be, I think one challenge that I would like to see. I think it might. We'll see how this game goes, but like growing the team, like we grew the team by one person, Courtney, joining us a year ago, and one of our values is definitely providing, like a safe space for people that would join our team, and also long and kind of fulfilling careers. Like we're when we when we bring on people, we want them to stick around for a while. Like I'm not pointing any fingers, but we see a lot of like exponential growth right now in the industry, and then suddenly like huge layoffs as well, and we're definitely cognizant of that, and we definitely don't want to go that route. And so I'm definitely,
it's a scary time to be a game developer right now.
Yeah, and the people that we do bring in, we want to be able to provide long term, at least the best that we can. And I'm sure a lot of other studios were saying the same thing a couple of years ago. But definitely going to be a challenge that I want to face, and I want to kind of solve and grow the team. Yeah.
True. This topic that you brought up, like people getting fired and laid off from the AAA companies, is very interesting, because I always said this, that I feel like indie and AAA will come together to the middle ground, and indie and AAA people who got fired will form a new wave of like AAA studios, in my opinion. And that's happening already, in my opinion. So you can see a lot of like indie studios having all those AAA veterans going into forming new studios, and they form like and work on AAA games. So it makes sense, in my opinion. And I think that also what a developer friend of mine brought up as a topic is that he at least saw it like a good opportunity for those people who worked in a team, a big numbered team. Now they can work on their own games, right? Because I assume that it's very true that all of those people who worked in the AAA industry as a segment of a bigger thing, right? They always had this dream game idea of theirs, and now they have this kick in the ass, right? That now they are free to start that, because other than that, they can go into work in the boring jobs, right? And not in the video game industry. So I think it helps if you have the courage and the helpful stress, let's say, after you're getting fired from those companies. At least in my opinion, I can. Somehow I feel like especially from next year on, video game industry will come back to its golden era, because people view it as a very bad thing that people getting fired, but in my opinion it's not just a bad thing. So it's not just a one-sided coin, it's also a good side of the same coin, is that, like I said before, people will have the possibility to really like have this chance to realize that, okay, now what should I really do? Work on my dream game, or working for other companies, or form like a one-man studio or a small studio, right? Or go to another job, right? So I think it's really a chance for those people who felt really safe, because safe is also comes with being a bit bored after so many years, right? Because it's very rare when a person stays for one company being loyal and work his ass off or her ass off like for, I don't know, 20 or 30 years. It's very rare, right? So if you look at all these companies, even if it's indie like AAA, because people have dreams, right? So people change on a constant level. So it would make sense at the end of the day.
I mean, it depends. I think I'd love the idea that, all those people go the route that you mentioned, but I think something else that we're seeing is some people are not in the place in their life where they can take the risk to go as a solo dev.
It's true. Or, that's why I said that's the sad part of the same coin.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of people leaving the industry, a lot of people with a lot of experience that are just leaving the industry because of how unstable it seems to be.
True.
But you're right, there are some of those good stories that come out of this group of people who were laid off, so they formed their own studio and they're successful with it. I guess we'll how all this stuff shakes out. But
True. Yeah.
Like an issue that we're seeing as well is funding is just not there either. Even if a lot of these studios are getting formed by really experienced people, there might not be enough. Publishers are also suffering, and they're very risk averse right now.
True.
And so it's just a hard time for people to get back on their feet, I think. I do agree with you that it might lead to some great things, but I do think it's a bit of a dark time right now.
Sure.
Especially when you see a bunch of your friends losing their jobs, and it's with the holidays coming up and stuff, like that's never fun. But hopefully it leads to better things and a better industry.
It always does, in my opinion. Like if we all learned history, right, and all the big events that were like very shady and foggy and dark times for humanity, it always ended up having a greater time for people and enjoying their time more, in my opinion. So I think I remember seeing the Wu-Tang TV series. I'm not sure if it was on Disney or Amazon, but the main protagonist of the rapper group said something like, you have to like sometimes like go into fights in order to gain something, not just approval but knowledge, and also like, I'm not sure what's the word in English for it, but the opposite of build. What's that word in English?
Destroy.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I'm rusty right now in English words. Thank you. So so sometimes you have to destroy your own castle in order to grow again, right? Because like you're feeling very safe in your own castle. And I think the video game industry also at a very like interesting point where I feel like from the player perspective, I totally could relate to what the Ubisoft CEO said like some weeks ago. I always saying this, that he also said this, that people's like behavior about games is very weird, because like they have these high expectations that they cannot understand themselves. They always say that they want a good game, right? Even if it's AAA or indie. But if you would happen to ask them what is a good game for them, for their personal view, they would not be able to probably say what is a good game for them, even if it's about the story or the gameplay side or the theme or the musical score. And that's how people get or end up like being sad about the final product. And they will say with their harsh opinions that this game sucks, that game sucks, because they have this unavoidable high expectations of a good game. But none of the games will be good for them. And I think that that's the cancel culture era we live in, really brought these, layoffs to the table, because, none of the developers, in my opinion, would like to ship a bad game, right? So they are working their ass off, crunch times, and even putting their health at risk sometimes at some point of the process of making games in order to have a very good game for the people, right? But I remember myself as a kid loving games, and I still love, but all of my friends grew up into these boring adults. I always joke with that they do not love games anymore, and they are so easily to get hurt when they play games and say this game sucks, that game sucks, but they cannot explain why they think like that, And for me, it's very sad. Like I feel like when I was a kid and that era, I remember everyone loved like playing video games. We exchanged cartridges, discs, and there wasn't like a thing to like hate on games. We just enjoyed our time, getting to know games. And it wasn't just because we were kids. At that time, everyone was like, it was a niche thing to do. Like it wasn't like a popular trend thing. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's also part of how players have just become more sophisticated in that, like, back then, because the leaps in technologies were just crazier, and now we're just like refining this UX of how a game works.
True.
I'm terrible at watching movies, and I could tell you, like, I like this movie, I don't like this movie. I can try to articulate it, but because I don't know the craft of it at all, I'm sure I'll say something stupid that someone who's worked in films knows. So, I mean, there's a mix of stuff here, and just to get back to your original point, at the end of the day, what we're seeing now in the games industry is an unsustainable model that just was being propped up for too long, and now it's crumbling down. And you said, hopefully in a couple of years we see this building back up in a healthier way.
Somehow I believe in that. I'm not sure if it's me being naive and loving video games or if I can predict the future, but we will see, right? We will see.
Hopefully, yeah.
We will see. Okay.
Yeah, I think what history has shown us is that art will never die. It may change forms, but and I think with the video game industry, with the expanse of the internet and the ability to make games available very, very easily.
True.
Definitely
that's the thing. Sorry for interrupting. That's the thing that, in my opinion, if you give freedom and access to everyone, you will end up like having less people who really care, right? Because I feel like when gaming was a niche thing to do, it was only hardcore people who played games because they really cared about games. Nowadays, gaming is available to everyone and appealing to everyone, but still, I feel like I always joke with this and a bit being harsh with me saying this, but I feel like nowadays we have so many trend gamers, as I say the word for it. Like, they are not playing games because they have the love for it. They play games because they see that you can make money of it, like streaming games. They play it because their favorite streamer plays it or their neighbor. So they are influenced and not because they really love games. So it's not that they will go into read about games, because I feel like, since, like you mentioned, it's very true, you have all the knowledge right now because of the internet, right, to read about games and to get informed about games. But I remember those kids and me reading articles and buying the newest magazines every month or every 2 weeks to read about games because we wanted to learn about games. Now you have all the information about games, but a lot of gamers, who call them gamers, really don't give a fuck about games, right? So it's like a coincidence to have this huge information wave, but people like, fuck it, I play just one game, League of Legends, and I don't care about all the indie games because they all suck, or all the AAA games, they always suck. And I met so many people like this, and they are so close-minded about games, I can tell you, and so annoying to talk with them.
I mean, but it kind of makes sense for any art form that, like, as it grows, it goes from a niche to it's available to everyone, and and this is just games maturing to the level that, like, movies and books have been for like 60, 70, I don't know how many years. Now I'm just dating myself, but like, they've been around forever, and eventually it just, there's just new games for more people, and some people might only care about League of Legends, but it just means the market is growing. And
which is fine. No. It shows that people are like starting not to care because there are so many things to like pursue and consume, right? And also, what topic you brought up, each one of you, is that games are forms of art, right? But it's funny that we consider games as form of art, but we still say that this game sucks. I always joke with this. No one said to Mona Lisa painting that it sucks, right? Because you probably would have been kicked out from the museum saying that, right? Even if you paid your ticket in order to view that, right? So it's stupid, in my opinion, that people are these crazy-minded human beings nowadays. Sorry for saying it this harsh, but it's true, in my opinion, that we are not educated in a form of like really express our feelings about something that we consider art. Because if you view a painting in a museum, we are educated enough to realize that we won't say that, okay, I probably might not liking that painting, but it's like not that it sucks or the creator is stupid or I want to kill the creator, right? But in the video game industry, so many like examples of people going harsh and even threaten developers. Why?
I think I would lightly disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Simply because of the fact that like you look at like postmodern art or like neo-traditional or anything like that. For art, I mean, I even had a conversation with family over the holiday of the art where it was a banana on a white canvas with duct tape, and looking at that and going, wow, that's stupid. I can't believe that just sold for that much money. And I think that video games are similar, where different types of art is viewed positively or negatively, and I don't think that's on us as
but is it fair to threaten the creators just because you don't like it or say it sucks? And by that,
I don't think at any point in time is it okay to threaten creators.
Okay.
I think that they are allowed to say that they do not like your game, and that they do not support it with their own money. I think as creators, what we have to do is make the games that we want to make.
Sure.
Hopefully try to make money from it.
Sure, but still being harsh and threaten people can end people's career. I saw a lot of examples for this. I even contacted some developers who were shy and scared to go public about their games and had to end their dreams of making games just because their team of the game's team was, for example, connected with Lovecraft, and people started to talk political bullshit about it because they thought that it's politically oriented, and they threatened the creator. Or just name a AAA example, The Last of Us 2, right? The writer got threatened even at his own house, and some folks wanted to kill him. It's crazy, right? And it's happening. And in the art business, like you said, you disagreed with me, which is fine. But in the art business, you cannot see examples of it. At least it's not common that you read examples that somebody painted a painting and people want to kill him because they are not liking it, right? The video game industry, it's a common thing now. I can tell you a lot of examples, and I talked to a lot of developers, and it's sad because we consider, at the end of the day, we consider games as forms of art, but we want to kick developers from the player's perspective and the player's opinion raising, being harsh because they created something that they do not like. And that's why I came up with this, me talking about this, that we have to educate people to really realize how to form opinions, because it's okay, like you said, I agree with you with that it's okay not to like something, but why would you degrade and downscale the creator itself? It's stupid in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense at all at the end of the day.
Nobody wants to hear that you suck, right? Because it can end up downscaling your ego to the point where you finish your dream, and it's killing you.
No, I agree with you. I do think online. Mike is
I think these are two separate, and maybe this kind of goes into other topics, but I think these are two separate things where anybody's allowed to have any opinions they want to have about anything.
True.
But have some empathy. People in the community online feel like they can say and do whatever they want and there's no consequences, and that's a problem. You're allowed to just say, the game sucks. Not for me, moving on. But yes, when it comes to, people threatening and that stuff, obviously never okay. And there should be more consequences for how freely people are out there
that's the thing, that in my opinion there's no consequences, which is not good in my opinion, because all of these platforms where you can write reviews, and especially if you think video game journalists websites, it's stupid. That's why I quit all of the video game journalist websites that I worked for, because they were corrupted here in Hungary. They wanted me to downscale games to a Metacritic average score, and it's stupid in my opinion. It's happening right now. So all of the promotional gurus who are or at least most of them who are working in the video game journalist era or from the player perspective, I'm not sure if they are paid to do that or they are just, sorry to say this, but this stupid. It's weird for me, because I always bring up this example of mine when I had to review the game The Golem. It was rated one of the worst games of all time, and I gave it 7 out of 10 because for me it was a very good game with its story. It had 30+ hours story, and it was a total good connection to the Lord of the Rings universe. It was cohesive with the whole story, and the boss of mine for that company downscaled it to 2 out of 10. And if you read the article itself, it's a very positive article about the game itself, showing its flaws, but also showing its positive side. But if you watch the score of mine that was given by my own boss, tuned down or scaled down from 7 to 2, it doesn't make any sense, right? To have a positive review, an article, and have a very negative score. And it's very bad in my opinion, because No, I just wanted to say is that people do not understand that if they do not see behind the curtain, they do not understand that it's killing people's jobs. It's literally changing people's life. And that's how they will end up going to those boring jobs and freelancer jobs that they have to maintain themselves and not work anymore in their dream games. And it happened to a lot of creators, I know.
Right. I do think that something like this conversation, though, is much larger than the games industry. It is,
but it's
it
connected
is a
to the game
byproduct.
industry.
It is, but it is a byproduct of kind of the anonymous internet that has been created alongside with
but
gaming.
Companies pay for these video game journalists, right? So they have the trust, and they still give this trust even knowing this, right?
Of course, it's more just that like this being like a bigger topic of like it is happening in games as well, and that's what Courtney was alluding to, but it's also kind of a much bigger conversation than
what we can necessarily get into this. I know for us it's already getting really close to midnight.
So. Sure. Yeah. Okay. So my very closing question would be, what would be your advice from your personal work and teamwork for those people who would like to make their first step into the video game industry?
For me, it's ask questions. If you see someone that's in a place that you're trying to aim to get to, just message them. There's LinkedIn, there's Twitter. It's possible they never respond, but there's the off chance that they do, and that they give you amazing advice and maybe help you understand how they got to where it is that you want to be.
Okay. What about you?
That was exactly what I was about to say. Was the ask questions thing, is that everyone so far that I've met in this industry has been nothing but nice. It does take a level of confidence and willingness to put yourself out there to do it.
True.
But
you have to be cocky sometimes, right?
Honestly, like when I talk to people about like what I love about my job and why I'm able to talk to so many people, I'm like, these are just gamers. The people that you're talking to in the gaming industry are gamers. They're pretty much just as big as nerds as you are, and they're probably super excited to talk to someone else that's passionate about the stuff that they're that they know. So there's that, is just like, put yourself out there, try new things, don't be afraid to fail, because I feel like 95% of the gaming industry is failure and it doesn't get talked about enough.
True.
So don't be afraid to try and fail and talk to people.
Right, true. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with both of those points. I would say just you can teach yourself anything online right now. So like lots of really good tutorials, lots of resources online to teach yourself the basics, and find people to do it with. I think a lot of people try and do it like as a solo dev, and I applaud those people that are able to do it. I just sometimes it's just so much easier to just have people to do it with. It when it helps to share the burden of if you are doing this for like as a career, like and you're building a company and stuff like that, I definitely recommend being able to find people you trust to help you do that. I don't think I'd be here doing this if I would have been doing this by myself. So yeah, that's my tidbit of advice.
See. Thank you again, by the way, for each one of you being so honest about every topic that we touched, and for your time as well. Like I said, I will need some more of your minutes of stream, but for those who are watching us live or will be watching the VOD version on Twitch or the edited version on YouTube at a later date this year, thanks for joining us, and don't forget to wishlist the rabbit hole, right? And give your feedback. The tryout session is happening on the guys' Discord server as well, so you can try out the game and leave your feedback there as well. So don't forget to do that. And thanks everyone for joining us for today's episode of My Dev Live Show. Have a great day or night, depending where you live. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.